I flew to London for my first South by Southwest conference, but was it worth it? In this video, I will be letting you know why I flew to London for South by Southwest, and hopefully this video will let you know if you should attend the next South by Southwest conference. So, I am Zaakirah, and I am a brand cultivating strategist, and I'm also visually impaired and hard of hearing. I've been to over 15 countries and half of the United States. But when I travel, especially post-pandemic, I make sure to keep an eye on accessibility, and I travel with accessibility and disabilities in mind. So why did I go all the way to London for South by Southwest? So first, if you've never heard of South by Southwest, it's been around since 1987. 1987 is where it's been in Austin, Texas, and it's been a combination of film and music and technology and culture. So it's South by Southwest originally was that's the concept. It's in the southern part of the United States, western part of the United States, part of Texas. Although this is the second iteration of London, I'm not new to the concept. I was familiar with it back in 2013 and 2014 when I was a volunteer photographer for a festival called All Three Coast, or A3C, which was in Atlanta, Georgia for about 10 years. And they basically got the concept of A3C from South by Southwest. It's normally known for breaking new films and new music artists and new technology. And it's also where a lot of your favorite influencers build their brand as well. So I wanted to go experience it for the first time in London. But also I haven't been to London in more than a decade. I first got to go to London, but I went to all of the tourist attractions, Buckingham Palace, the London Eye, and this was the summer of 9th grade going into 10th grade because I was a part of a people-to-people student ambassador program. So this time I'm the tourist all over again because I'm going to a side of town that I've never been to, meeting people that I've never met. It's normally a week-long conference. It keeps getting bigger and bigger because we keep adding different kinds of tracks. I had applied to speak and didn't get accepted this time. I still went and attended and put myself into the ecosystem, if you will. And so although the conference is 6 days and I got the badge for a 6-day conference, I didn't end up attending all 6 days. I only ended up attending 2, and honestly, that was A-okay with me. Because most people, especially if it's their first one, will say that it's overwhelming. But I knew from attending lots of conferences that I need to set my intention first and foremost. What am I going to do at this conference? What connections do I want to make from this conference? And also, the South by Southwest conference is one of those conferences where the badge that you have matters. The color code that you have matters. So if you can, definitely get the second to highest tier of a badge because it'll help you feel like a VIP. You can get into a lot of the events and the conferences and the networking events and the brunches and breakfasts and lunches and dinners. One thing that I did notice that South by Southwest London did very well was their accessibility. They were very interactive throughout the time leading up to the conference. They also did have an app. It was a very interactive app where you can build your schedule, navigate the venues, click on it straight to the maps apps of your choice, and you can network with other people, discover people who are in your same industry and network with other people. So they had direct messaging. You could build your own profile with your bio and your social media handles. But I'll be honest, the people that I did end up meeting in person, we immediately went straight to LinkedIn or Instagram because we were like, I'm going to forget about this. Let's just connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, or WhatsApp. The staff was very helpful with any questions that I had, even on site. There was a certain badge that I had as well that let them know that I have a disability, so they were also very accommodating in that manner. There were a lot of sessions that did have captions, being visually impaired and hard of hearing. Sometimes I don't catch everything from a conversation, so that badge allowed me to sit up front so I can lip read if the session did not have captions. So either I need to sit up close to the speakers in the front row, as if I'm VIP, which I am, or I need to sit near one of the TV that had captions. And then the venues were all within close proximity, walking distance, in the area called Shoreditch, which is a very creative area. But I also happened to stay at a hostel, again, on a budget. I stayed at a hostel called Generator Hostel, and it was very convenient. Just walk around the corner to get on one bus that took me straight to Shoreditch. Can't be in London and not be on a double-decker bus. Or if I needed to just go explore other sides of London, I would get into the underground, which it really is underground. You had to take 3 escalators just to go underground. There were plenty of moments where if I just needed to just take a breather, find something to eat, a lot of the nearby restaurants had discount codes. Also, if you had a certain pass, you can get a discount for certain meals of restaurants that were nearby. And if there was too much noise, too much listening, too much lip reading, too much people interaction, in the Expo, they had a couple of vendors like LinkedIn and Adobe and Meta and Google. All the major technology companies were vendors at the Expo. But they had a really cool nook where as soon as you get in, it's like a little mini pod. Most people used it to take a quick Zoom call or send up their email or type up whatever they need to do on a computer. You could also charge your device, charge yourself and charge your device. But actually that ended up being one of my favorite networking opportunities because it's like a little booth, like a booth as if you're sitting in a restaurant and someone can sit across from you. And so I met one lady who was actually there as an ambassador for a creative company called Newcomer, and that was fun. And then another one of the other means of needing to be sitting in peace and quiet is there was a partnership with a co-working space over there called Forva. And they only let you sit in the hot seat area unless you upgrade and get a temporary membership or day pass. But I was also gratefully able to use one of the spaces for about an hour. Again, people can do that if they need to take a Zoom call, need a quiet space to take a Zoom call. But I also was able to conduct an interview because I am also working on a documentary. That's one of the reasons why I was like, let me get on the ground and get to know how it is and meet some of the people who are on the team, who are part of the decision makers for programming for the next year. And also so that I'm working on a documentary about travel and disability and being a woman of color, being a woman of faith, having a rare childhood eye cancer. So I got to also interview another childhood eye cancer survivor in one of those spaces. And then, of course, there's activation. Just like any conference, there's amazing panels. I enjoyed sitting on the panels that had representatives from any one of the C-suites from DAZN, mostly known now for boxing, but they're pivoting to include football and other sports as well. And then there's also some networking activations off-site. So it depends on the level of partnership they had. It was included in the app, and you could get a push notification in the app for when it's time to go to that specific activation. So a couple of my favorite activations was there was a female founders or female funders, investors power breakfast. Although I got there toward the last bit and it was too many people for me, what I do is I set my intention of how many people do I want to meet, what type of person do I want to meet, and once I meet that threshold, I'm out and on to the next thing. So I did meet a couple of people. We have kept in touch on LinkedIn at that breakfast. And then Waymo, because Waymo is new to London, it's going to be coming to London soon. I had already experienced it during my time in San Francisco during Super Bowl week. And Waymo actually had a little cafe where you could get to understand the car, sit in the car, and then have a little cafe. So I got to network. Those are the best networking moments where you just sit there and just trust your intuition on who is it that you want to meet and network and talk to. And then there was another venue called Bangla House or Bangladesh House. Because I also am a practicing Muslim woman, I make sure to try to find the Muslims, right? So there was an area called Bangladesh, which was actually around the corner from the area near Abbey Road where Amy Winehouse and the Beatles and Paul McCartney and everyone record, Abbey House Studios. Anyone who pretty much go to London who was in the area, not far from where most of your favorite artists go to London to do their recording session. And speaking of London music scene, I got to see some performances. There was one activation that was at the Shoreditch Town Hall that had Tiwa Savage, Nigerian Afrobeats, Afro R&B music artist who famously, in my mind, she famously sang a song with Brandy. And there were also some up-and-coming R&B artists by the name of Zitah, Z-I-T-A-H, well, Iyamah, but amazing talent, and that was part of an activation called Everything R&B. So someone in the UK had pretty much been building like a platform for upcoming R&B artists to get stages in our platform. And also because filmmaking is one of my goals. I've known it to be one of the places where your favorite movies that are now on your favorite streaming platforms. South by Southwest is one of the film festivals where it gets to start on the film festival circuit. So because one of my long-term goals is to not only attend the next one in the U.S., but also speak on a panel and also premiere documentaries. So it's a great way to kind of get my foot into the door and really understand, okay, what do I need to focus on next creatively? What do I need to continue to build creatively? What relationship do I need to continue to nurture and things of that sort? One of my favorite panels that I did attend was a doctor from Moorfields Eye Hospital was one of the healthcare panels. And again, the power of LinkedIn is that when all of the speakers are being announced, it's their LinkedIn. On their website, it's their LinkedIn that gets tagged. And because they got tagged, I was able to send a DM ahead of time and let them know that I'll be there. So the minute that I was able to see them at their panel and lock eyes, then I could follow up and send an email afterwards saying, great to see your panel. I would love to continue to tell you more about what I have going on. And so in my instance, it was telling them that I had known about the hospital because of my time in Ghana and that I'm working on a documentary and what ideas do you have and are you interested in being a part of it? So don't underestimate LinkedIn, don't underestimate the power of online and in real life connections. I will say one of the downsides is that because they wanted to keep things flowing, and they did pretty good. But some sessions started earlier than it said in the app, so you never really know. But because they wanted to keep things flowing, most conferences, especially depending on how intimate they are, you can walk up to the speaker afterward, get a selfie, give a compliment, ask a question. But I think I would have needed to do a little bit more research to figure out how that would have happened. Because some people actually got selfie with who they wanted to get selfie with. But I do my thing of, okay, I meet you in person, I connect with you online, email you, send you a message. Overall, South by Southwest London, South by Southwest as a whole, they're taking the same framework from Austin, Texas, taking it to London, taking it to Australia, taking it to wherever they're going to next. It's definitely one of the conferences where you're not just going and collecting business cards. You're actually collecting ideas, you're learning ideas that are about to become the next world phenomenon. You are building relationships. Now, when it comes to just being in London, of course, I did spend some time just sightseeing around London. I did go near the Buckingham Palace. I did see the Eye from afar. I love the artwork around Shoreditch. Some of them, they're so woke, as I like to say it. They're very encouraging, it's so woke. People are very intelligent in London. And I think it's because it's a new mecca. It's a new mecca of expats. I met every ethnicity there. When I was there, I went to another activation called Move Me Back, and that's where the diaspora meet up. But a lot didn't even know about the festival. They knew about the activation called Move Me Back. So they were there for Move Me Back, which is the diaspora coming together. And so a lot of them were very surprised that I came to London for the festival. But a lot of them already thought that I was local in London, so I don't know, maybe there's something manifesting in the future. Because it was a convenient nonstop flight from the East Coast of the U.S., I see why people choose to either to relocate there or spend the European summer there. But I was on a non-stop flight to and from London. And again, because I have an invisible disability, I made sure to wear what they have called a hidden disability sunflower lanyard. So the staff at the airport is very well trained to recognize that sunflower lanyard and well trained to ask you if you need assistance. Because also what happens is sometimes if you have an invisible disability and you need help, it's either a matter of just having the space to ask for help or you actually don't know how to get around, which in my case, I haven't been in the airport in a long time. Technically, I didn't know it, so I'm like, I need help getting to and from customs. And they have really cool equipment where it's almost like a little scooter, basically, where they can take you around. Or it's like a mini golf cart. It's more like a truck because I sat on one that fit maybe 10 people at a time. But they'll have a truck where you can bypass the long line because there's a new ETA visa that you have to make sure that you get if you are going to London. Make sure you get that visa. It's good as long as your passport does not expire. That ETA visa does not expire, at least the one that I got. So it's just another way to electronically submit, pay. I think I paid maybe the equivalent of $30 for it. And yeah, I was able to get through the airport, have a breeze, relax, stare into space. So if you were thinking about attending South by Southwest, yes, you should. And if you are thinking about going, make sure that you do go. And if you're going to the next one, do make sure you pay attention also to the badge types, because the higher badge you get, the more of a VIP you are. But also, if you've never been to Austin, Texas, you've never been to London, England, and you just want to go to the events that you can find out about and get tagged in as soon as you're on the ground, do that. It's one of those conferences that no matter how much we depend on artificial intelligence, in real life connections matter, and being in the right place at the right time matters.